Hey, horror fans, once again, it is me, the Horror Miser Money G. It's time to review another horror movie. This time we review the latest horror film from Asia. This is a Taiwanese horror film called The Sadness. Yes. Now, The Sadness is a 2021 Taiwanese horror film. It was written and directed by Rob Jabaz. Now, the film stars Barrett Zhu, Regina Lee, Zhu Cheng Wang, Lee Han Lang, and Ying Ran Qing. I think I pronounced all those names right. Now, in this film, a young couple trying to reunite amid a city ravaged by a plague that turns its victims into deranged, bloodthirsty sadists. We're not kidding when the word sadist comes to mind. Now, you know, horror fans, when it comes to foreign horror movies, we have plenty of Asian horror films that have found success here in the United States. Whether it's from Japan, who gave us Ringo and Juno, I believe I pronounced that right, The Grudge, Shudder from Thailand, and from South Korea, we have A Tale of Two Sisters and Train to Busan, among others. Now, not only have American horror fans enjoyed these films, American film studios have created their own versions of these films. Hence, we have The Ring and we have The Grudge. Those two Japanese films were actually turned into Americanized versions from those movies. So now we have another Asian horror film, this time coming from Taiwan, written and directed by Canadian film director Rob Jabaz. It's called The Sadness. Now, in this setup, we're introduced to Kim and Kat. I think her name is Katrina, but it's called Kat. I believe that's what her real name is. They're a lovely young couple living in the city of Taipei. And now, after dropping Kat off to work, Jim suddenly finds himself in the middle of a pandemic where the virus turns innocent people into brutal, vicious killers. And I do mean vicious, and I do mean brutal. Jim and Kat now have to navigate around swarms of effective killers to survive and reunite with each other. That's basically what the film is about. Now, the one thing I will say about this film, and I'm pretty sure most people will say the same thing, this is the most brutal, violent, glorious zombie film I've ever seen. Rob and his team, they certainly do not hold back as we see everything, and I do mean everything from cannibalism, sodomy, rape, beheading, all sorts of depravity that a human can do to another human being. I mean, if you think that nobody can stoop to the depths as low as you can go, this film does it, but in a artistic type of way. Now, I'm sure people such as myself will be getting vibes some 28 days later and the crazies, but that's what I was getting while watching all this film, which was very intense and very violent. Keep in mind that even though you're going to see the word zombie, these people aren't zombies, just like the people in 28 Days Later, they weren't zombies, or the people in the crazies. Both those films, in this film, they were infected with a virus that made them act real violent and do crazy, absurd things. Yeah, now, like I said before, there is cannibalism in this film because you will see people biting each other, but these people, when you kill them, they stay dead, and you don't have to kill them and shoot them in the head or beheading them. Once you kill them, they die. You burn to death, they die. That's the big difference between that and regular zombie films. Now, I love how Rob shows both Jim and Kat's ordeals in getting around the city. We see Jim, he has his own issue trying to get around some of the effective, but I love what he did with Kat because she seems nice and innocent, and she seems kind of nice and innocent, but she's being chased around by an effective older businessman who advances she rebuffed earlier on the subway before he became effective. I think that's really what drives the film, is to see her being chased by this businessman who, no, he just tries to be nice. She rebuffs him kind of nicely, but once he gets effective, he just pursues her. The film is paced very well, and we do get some breaks in the violence, so it's not all like all of a sudden we just get all this violence, blood, gore, guts, and everything else like that. Especially in the third act. That's when we really get the film kind of slows down a bit. However, and this is the only fault I find in the film, I believe that act is about 15 minutes too long because we get a long exposition about the cause of the virus, which should have only taken about 5 minutes at best. We get this long, drawn-out thing about the virus, what caused the virus, and some other stuff that happens. Well, I won't get into here, but if you saw the film, you know what I'm talking about here. I think had they shortened that down for about a good 5 minutes long, then I think that would have been better. But that's the only thing I would only nitpick about the film. And overall, as I stated before, this is a very violent, gory, bloody, and brutal zombie film that should satisfy gorehounds and horror fans alike. Yes, I was truly highly entertained with this particular film. I wouldn't be surprised if you see this on my top 5 or top 10 best horror films of this year. So, with that said, I'm going to give The Sadness 4 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Getting 4 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Really enjoyed this film. I know a lot of people are going to enjoy this film because I will say this: this is not for the faint of heart. Because if you're not into gore, guts, blood, and there's some other stuff that happens in the film that might trigger some people, this film might not be for you. But if you're like this weird shit, which I'm pretty sure there's a few people I know like this, you're going to enjoy The Sadness. So there you have it, horror fans. That is my review and video of The Sadness. Hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up, like, and share because it does help out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. That way you'll be notified anytime when I put a new video such as this one. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Money G, and always remember that horror rules. And I'll see you in my next video. I'm out.